What is up, guys? This is your boy Royal Mechanic here, and today I have a deck profile of my Royal Paladin deck post Aerial Steed Liberation. So let's get into it. First off, though, sorry about the lack of videos for the past couple weeks. Things have happened at home that were kind of hectic. Work was kind of hectic, and so I felt I was like really drained and trying to do videos. But I'm back. My goal is to make sure to have a video for you guys every Wednesday, and if it's not going to end up on Wednesday, it'll be on Sunday. Outside of that, let's get into it. Thank you for your support. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe if this is your first time, and thanks for everything, guys. So let's get into this deck profile, shall we? Alright, so from a starter, the homeboy is back. So we are going to run Barkle. Barkle isn't anything different than Glime. Same skill on ride, draw a card. But Barkle is Barkle, and a lot of us vet players have missed him. It's me especially, so it's really good to have him back into the fold. Next into my grade 3s and 4s, we will go first up to Gancelot. If you know what he does, on ride, counter blast 1, soul blast everything but a card. He gains the ability to attack fully. After the end of his attack, soul charge 2, and if you have a blaster blade and soul, rewrite a blaster blade and soul. And if you don't, you lose the game. Still in here because he can control fields. He's a decent finisher. Don't need him as much anymore. I might drop him to 1, but I'm still playtesting on deciding if he's staying at 2 or 1. Next grade 3, we're still keeping the king himself for Monarch. Monarch is really strong, especially now. Early game, he's still a 28k Vanguard attacker, as well as now that Force 2 exists, that's 28 crit 2, as if he already had a Alfred previously in Soul. His recurring of Blaster Blades from drop is really helpful now, because of later cards in the deck. So it's really fun, and now that Gancelot exists, him doing his skill while riding over a rearguard blaster blade is just bonkers and tasty. And speaking of Gancelot, we're also running 4 Gancelot. If you haven't seen my video on what his skill is, please check it out. It's on the channel. But also, his skill, just for a quick reminder, is going to be on Vanguard Circle. All blaster blades gain plus 10k power on Vanguard and Rearguard Circle. His other skill is, when he's on Vanguard Circle, if a blaster blade is in a Rearguard Circle, it's considered a Vanguard Circle. What makes this good is that's 3 drive checks a turn. It helps, and because of how Royals work now, with blaster blade being the secondary Vanguard on turns, that means he can get his crit effect out. This is actually a lot more simpler than it sounds, and I'm really glad for it. Into the grade 2s. First off, we keep it the same. 4 Blaster Blade. Never going to leave. He's the heart and soul of Royal Paladin at this point. The deck may get a complete revision, but we don't know yet. But yeah, next is also for Bedivere. We're still keeping the Sword Boys as well. They're too consistent not to keep. That 24k calm is not a nice thing to fight, especially now with Force 2 existent. So yeah, and that free 3 card with a 1 card neutral is actually really fun. +1 is always useful. Then last but not least, we also run 3 Gordon. Gordon is an amazing card for this deck. He can be used early game to support Blaster Blade on turn 2, where you have active crit to make active crit, as well as late game. What he does is 5 heat on rearguard, 5k to any Blaster Blade, as well as if he's in the same column as a Blaster Blade, he can be a booster. That's a 15k boost to a 10k base, but usually 20k base Blaster Blade. So 25, 35, depending on what stage of game you're in. Grade 1s, since we run Bedivere, we run 4k. He's just K. You know what Bedivere and K do. This is actually really easy. I also run 3 Tristan. He is one of the new cards in the deck. If I drop one of those Escalpates, I'll probably put him up to 4. What he does is counterblast 1, search a Blaster Blade from the deck if your opponent's on grade 3. This is really helpful for Gance, as well as on those Escalpate turns. Especially if you don't have a Blaster Blade, because that's how so many people die. Next, we also run 3 Marin. Marin's skill is when a unit's called in the same column as him, counterblast 1, +3, draw a card. That's really good. One thing about it, guys, if you do call him the same, if you call Blaster Blade in his column, the Blaster Blade needs to be in the back row. Do not call him in the front row, because if you do, his effect will not trigger, and that would really suck. Last but not least, 2 Pluck Enchanter. We finally got him, boys. A countercharger. Not as extravagant as we thought he was going to be, but he's still really good. His skill is on rearguard. When a Blaster Blade is called, you may soul charge. You can use soul charge a card, and if you have no face-up damage, you countercharge. This is really good, but it's only once per turn, so you can't spam it. Wish you could, but you can't. Then we're into the trigger lineup. I run 8 crits. 2 of those are Lou. 3 of those are Flogel. 3 of those are Epona. I decided to keep the whole game together. Since Barco is run, I'm keeping in some Lou's and I'm keeping some Flogels, but I'm also keeping in Epona because you guys all know how it went. You ran them all together when we could do the superior ride for Barco. I also run 4 draw. 4 draw PGs are always going to be a thing. Even with the new grade 1 PG, the draw PGs are still better. It keeps your deck more flexible. Some decks actually value the draw PG, like Grand Blue, but not every other deck can value it. And then 4 heals. So that is the deck, guys. Just give me 1 second. We'll go into discussion. And we're back, guys. So anyway, onto my feelings of the deck and how I think about its running. So for me, I say this deck has not changed per se. You're still wanting to ride Blaster Blade early to see if you can get that combo play. The only difference is now Monarch is your first ride, which now means the Blaster Blade turn on your turn 2, if it happens, is a lot more dangerous because on the following turn, Monarch now has a big pressure push thanks to Force 2. Sorry. You can still play Force 1, but that's all debatable. If you ride Gance first, Force 1's always good. If you ride Monarch first, stick to Force 2. Here's why. Because if you wrote Monarch first, late game, a crit 3 on both sides is dangerous and spicy. I've done it almost every game I've played with this deck. It is beautiful. Thus into that, the deck's hand now no longer is lacking. When you play the deck right, you will not lack in hand anymore. As long as you play it right. As long as you make every play optimal, your hand should not drop really low. To the point of, now that Jamio Congo is out, your hand does not really get hurt by Jamio. You have cards you can throw away. You have cards that you can keep to optimize plays. So one card now for a lot of these cards in the deck is a 1 card actually equals 2. So it's not bad per se, but also because of how fast this deck runs now, early game is your opponent's worst enemy. Late game, it got worse if they could not slow you down. I will say this, as for me, I believe you should ride, the ride phase should go on your first grade 3, be a Monarch, second grade 3, be Gance. Why? Because if Monarch's in Soul, the rest of your Monarchs in deck are a dangerous threat if you've had a Blaster Blade on board. Crit 3ing your opponents is stupid and overpowered, and I love it. I will say, Escalpate doesn't really do much in the deck, but you still want him there because you can't search Blaster Blade later to put in the Soul for it on his skills. But you still want to have him there because there are some matchups in Excel that you need to wipe their board so you don't get crushed, and he helps with that. I would give this deck out of 10 a 7.5 to an 8 because it still has its bad matchups, especially against Kagero. Bermuda is still a thing, but we don't have a big issue anymore. We can still play. We can now play against it with minimal difficulty. And that's all I gotta say. I really like this support because it's actually quality support and not just quantity support since the past few sets. And I hope you guys out there get to enjoy the deck too. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe at the bottom. And if you are subscribed, hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with all my video content. And I will see you guys in the next video. Later.